Today, we're going to cover how to set up your Facebook ad account and how to create campaigns where you can spend profitably and scale. I'm going to show you every screen and every button, and I'm going to give you best practices for every option. And by the end of this, we're literally going to set this up and I'm going to show you how to do it live in the video so that you can do it along with me so that you can see the success that you deserve. You are in for a treat today. Now, some of you are coming in and you are brand new to all of this, and some of you are more intermediate when it comes to setting up your Facebook ads. Wherever you are at, I'm gonna take you from there to full-blown expert by the end of this video. Now, I've gone ahead and broken down this entire video into sections and chapters down below so that you can skip ahead to the information that you need or come back later and rewatch the same information over and over again so you can use this as a reference as you move along. Just make sure you stick around to the end because we're gonna be doing a massive giveaway that you don't wanna miss. All right, with that being said, let's get started. We're gonna start with why run ads on Meta. And is Facebook right for you? And is your audience on Facebook and Instagram? We're then gonna dive into what you need to start running ads, how to set up your Facebook page, how to create your business manager and ad account, how to connect your Facebook page and payment method, and how to verify your domain, set up and install your Meta Pixel. And I promise you, a lot of times I've seen other people describe how to do this. It's gotten insanely complicated. But today we're gonna make it something that you can do easily in just a couple of minutes. I promise you, this is something you can do. And I'm gonna hold your hand the entire way. After that, we're gonna get to budget and campaign planning. We're gonna talk about how to define your ideal meta budget. I'm gonna teach you how to understand the learning phase and CBO versus ABO. I'm going to teach you how to identify and prioritize your business objectives, and I'm going to show you how to understand the 3 different layers of a Meta ad account. And full disclosure, when I see other people talking about how to run ads, they skip over almost 50% of this stuff. But the honest truth is, you want to understand this thing so that you can control this thing, and that ultimately you can copy and paste your way to success and understand every step of the way. That's where real success and confidence comes from. That's what you're going to get today. Now, from there, we're going to get into the really fun part, creating campaigns that are successful, profitable, stable, projectable, and most importantly, that will scale and require very little effort from you to manage. We're going to break down how to go about creating a successful ad campaign. And in order to do that, we're going to have to break down what is Meta's business model and how to create a successful ad set and how targeting and audiences actually work. And what we're going to really focus on here is sustainable, predictable, and scalable results. And I'm going to show you how the machine works so that you can use it to your advantage moving forward. And most importantly, these are things that most other people that talk about how to be successful on the platform never touch, because we're not focusing on hacks that'll stop a week later. We're focusing on things that'll help you 2, 3, 5, 10x your business, requiring less and less time while you make more and more money. That's the goal. That's the plan. And you're going to get there with confidence today. Next, we're going to focus on how to create ads that really work. We're going to talk about the 3 types of content that you need, and writing copy that converts, and writing copy with AI. I'm even going to show you a free tool that I set up so that you can use it today, that I'm using on my own businesses and my own brands and my own clients, and that my students have been using for years to generate millions of success, that take all of the guesswork out of it so that you can literally copy and paste your way to the place that you deserve to be. And with all of that, I'm going to show you how to build successful ads. Now, that is really exciting, but building ads is only half the game. Then we're going to have to focus on optimization and scale. I'm going to show you how to measure results with data points that actually matter. You've been taught to value the wrong things, and it's one of the reasons that you're so confused and the success that you deserve just doesn't seem to be in reach. We're going to solve that today. And I'm going to show you how to do a 4PI analysis, which is literally how I break down ad accounts that are spending $10 a day or $1 million to understand what the next action should be so that we can continue to grow the business. And I'm going to do all of that by showing you what a 4PI analysis is and walk you step by step so that you can begin to understand all of the moving parts and you'll never be lost or lack confidence in your decision making ever again. And of course, we can't end this video without showing you the step-by-step process to scale with confidence. All right, you ready? Let's get into why you should run ads on Meta. Generally speaking, there are 3 reasons for you to run ads on the Meta platform. The first is to generate sales. You can advertise your product or service and send people to your website to purchase. You can also send people to your shops on Instagram and Facebook, but generally this is looked at as e-commerce. If you can spend money to make money, let's make making money really easy by showing you how to spend it in a way where you can see the success that you deserve. Next, we have lead generation. You can collect names, emails, phone numbers, and more directly from your target customers by setting up a system and a process for them to give you the information that you need to see what value they have to you. And something that's really important when it comes to lead generation is a cheap lead isn't the same thing as a good lead. So we're going to cover how to get better leads along the way. And lastly, Meta ads can be used to promote content. This is so we can make sure the perfect person sees the perfect content at the perfect time for your goals, which can be incredibly helpful, especially if you're a small business or have a small budget or you're a creator trying to grow your audience. This part can be the unlock you've been waiting for years and means that you never have to worry about going viral ever again. So why is the Meta platform so good and why does it keep getting better every single year? Well, it's because of a couple things. First, they have over 10 years of data on your behavior, and this data grows with every single impression. They know every post that you've liked, shared, commented on, every message you've sent, and every video you've viewed on Facebook, Instagram, within Messenger, and WhatsApp. They know every website and page that you've been to. They know everywhere that you've been in the world. If you have a smartphone, Facebook has been tracking your location for over a decade now. They know what you spend money on, when you spend money, who you talk to, and who you hang out with. And also, they've been using this information to model your behavior to understand what it is that you're looking for and how to make your experience on the platform better so that you come back. Now, let me give you an example of just how smart the machine is these days. This is a real-world example from when I used to run all the ads for New Balance. Let's say you buy a new pair of running shoes every other April. The Meta platform and Facebook knows that you usually spend between 60 and $100 on these pairs of shoes. They know that you've been spending more day to day in recent years than you used to. They also know that you've been to a shoe store recently. They know that your friends are more active and maybe going to parks and playing, and that they're probably also buying more running shoes and fitness equipment. They know that you're buying healthier food and that you went to a sneaker company's website in the last few days. Maybe you've abandoned cart on Nike and Reebok and Converse and Puma. Well, you're in market. Maybe a New Balance shoe is really what you're looking for. They know. And this is the first bit of information that I really want you to know when it comes to Meta and your data and your business. Your customer might see your ad for the very first time because they've been in market and said no to 10 of your competitors in the last 48 hours. Your first impression might be a bottom of funnel retargeting ad for your target customer. And that means that you don't have to do all of the work to make a sale. And that's really, really important when we get to all of the other stuff later. And I really want to drive this point home before we go any further. Your marketing funnel can exist at the very end of your customer's buying journey. You can come in at the 11th hour and get the sale without having to do all of the other work. And the honest truth is, the average customer journey to purchase isn't days or weeks long, it's years. The reason you're buying running shoes today is because of a lifetime of experience that brought you to that decision. And that's something nobody has control over. So let's not even try. Let's just be the right choice when they're ready to buy. So now let's cover the 5 things that you need to start running ads today. First, you need to have a Meta Business Manager. This holds all of your business assets, your ad account pages, pixels, payment methods, etc. Then you're going to need an ad account, and this is where you create all of your campaigns, and you can have multiple in a single business manager. You're also going to need a verified domain. You are required to verify ownership of the domain that you are driving ads to. I also highly recommend that you get a Meta Pixel. This is code to put on your site to track actions. And you're going to need a Facebook page. This is the page that you run your ads from. Now, I know some of this stuff can feel technical, but don't worry. I'm literally going to share my screen and show you step by step everything that you need to know to get every one of these things set up today. You are going to win. All right, so we're about to go through the step-by-step process, and I want you to know, if you look in the description down below, I provided links for every single page that we're going to cover so that you don't need to look for anything. I'm going to hold your hand and show you every step of the way, and all you're going to have to do is click a couple of buttons and copy and paste your way to success. All right, let's get started with step number 1, creating a Facebook page. When you're creating a Facebook page, you want to choose public page. And this will allow you to grow as a business, a creator, and an organization, and get more advanced professional tools. It will also allow you to assign access to other people. This is what we want to do. Even if your brand is you want this to not be your personal profile. And when you click get started, it's going to bring you to this page. And what's important is you want to select the type of page that you want to create. In this case, a business or brand or a community and public figure. You're going to enter your business information. Please be specific and make sure that it matches your actual real world business information. For category, you can type a word or two that describes your business, and Facebook will suggest categories for you. Just choose the one that best fits. You're also going to need to create your page's username. This will be your This will be your web page on Facebook. Make sure to use your business name or website. You want everything to have continuity. And then from there, you're going to add your business details, your website, description of your business, contact information, location, hours, etc. And finally, you want to add a profile and cover picture. Now, before we go on any further, I want to take a moment to stop and give you a couple Disruptor School best practices here, because I see a lot of people getting their ad accounts blocked, and that's completely avoidable. And here's what you need to do. First, before you run any ads, post 20 to 25 times on your Facebook page. Without these, Facebook is likely to see you as illegitimate and can get your page shut down and even your account banned. If you've ever dealt with your account getting banned, so often it's because you built a page and tried to run ads to it right away. Facebook sees this as being illegitimate. And the honest truth is, they have billions of people around the world accessing Facebook every single day. And the artificial intelligence is just trying to clear as much of the scammers as possible. And there's no opportunity for you to talk to a real person to solve these problems. So just make sure that you get a little bit of traction before you start running ads. Now, for every one of my students and all of our clients at Disruptor School, we constantly tell people you can post at least 3 times a day for the first week after you make a page. Then you can decrease to once or twice a day for another week. And then after that, you really only need to post twice a week. The point here is showing that your page is active and that you're legitimate and that you're real. That's very, very important. And it might seem like a little bit of work now, but if you ever want to spend a lot of money later, it's the due diligence and fundamental foundations that are required that you get right today to make sure that brighter future is even possible. Now remember that posting not only tells Meta that you're a legit business, but it also helps teach the machine who likes your content and will improve your results downstream. And with all of that being said, let's get into how to create your business manager. Now, your business manager is a tool designed to be the primary hub on Meta to manage all of your pages, your ad accounts, your domains, and other assets that you might have in your business. Now, when you click the button down below, it's going to bring up a screen that looks like this. From here, you want to hit Create Account and fill up the information with your real business data. Make sure you use a real work email address as well. Avoid Gmail, Hotmail, Yahoo, etc. if at all possible. And Meta will send you an email with a confirmation link. I want you to click on that as soon as possible. It is really important that you show that you have the best of intentions and that you are someone with integrity and that they can trust you to run ads on their platform. It is a privilege, and we want to make sure that we earn that right. Remember, Meta uses AI to verify if people are legit and aggressively screens for scammers and bots. Don't give them any reason to question you. Now, before we go any further, I want to take a moment again to give you a couple of Disruptor School best practices. First, prioritize doing the business verification process as soon as it is available on your business manager. Be thorough and prompt to avoid any potential issues with getting banned or restricted in the future. This will verify that you are a real business and will create an extra layer of security to your business manager, which again will help if you ever face any issues with account bans or restrictions or getting hacked. Of all the people that I see getting their accounts hacked or their pages banned or their accounts blocked for life from ever being able to run ads, over 75% of them make the mistake of not doing this simple step right. Prioritize your relationship when getting started so they can have trust with you and you can see success for a really long time. All right, that being said, let's get to step 3, creating your ad account. Now, when you click the button to create your ad account, it's going to show something that looks like this. Now, when you go to your Meta Business Suite and the Business Settings section, you're going to see a button with 3 lines on it on the top left. Legitimately, that's called the hamburger button, which I think is adorable. Anyway, down below, you're going to see this section called Accounts, and then in there is Ad Accounts. You're going to hit the button as it pops out that says Add, and then below that, you're going to hit Create New Account. So to create our ad account, we want to go to the link down below that says step number 3, create your account. This is a business.facebook.com, and you want to select your business manager. Now you're simply going to name the ad account whatever you want. And this will only be for internal reference. No one else will see it. And then select your time zone and currency. By the way, make sure that your time zone and your currency are accurate and relevant to where you are in the world. Otherwise, you're going to run into some issues when trying to run ads, and you might have to create a brand new account. So if you're in Los Angeles, put Pacific Standard Time and US dollar. If you're in Brisbane, put in Australian dollar, right? If you're in Belgium or Germany or South Africa, make sure that you're putting where you are in the world and the currency that you're using. It's a stupid, simple thing, and so many people get this wrong. Once again, let's take a moment for some Disruptor School best practices. When you begin, you will only have permission to create 1 ad account per business manager. As soon as Facebook charges your credit card for the first time, this limit is raised to 3 accounts per business manager. I highly recommend that you go ahead and just create all 3 accounts right away when you have the option to do it. Every single business that I set up, we make sure to have 1, if not 2, contingency ad accounts attached to the business. So if anything ever goes wrong for any reason, we never spend a penny that we don't want to, and we can always make sure that we're in control of the money being spent. Now, let's get to connecting your Facebook page. So for step number 4, you want to go to business.facebook.com/settings/ad accounts and select Business Manager. Then click Accounts and click Pages. Click on Add, and a menu will drop down, and then you can hit Add a Page. Now, if you already own this page, you won't need to request access to it. But if you're running ads for somebody else, then this is where you request access to that page. And you'll have the option of creating a page here, and that'll take you back to step 1. But again, that's why we start with creating a page so that we don't have to kind of do all of this over again. I'm giving it to you in the exact order that you should follow. So now we're going to get into adding a payment method. So again, you go to your business settings tab inside your business manager, click on billings and payments, click on payment methods, and add a valid form of payment, either a credit card or a PayPal account. Now again, let's take a quick break to get into some Disrupt Your School best practices. And the number 1 rule here is, if at all possible, don't use PayPal to run your ads. PayPal accounts tend to have more billing issues and more account disruption than direct billing with credit cards. And I don't know why, but this is just something that I've seen time and again for years and years and years. And a lot of the other folks that I know that run accounts for many other brands around the world have the exact same problem. Now, golden rule number 2, if you're running ads for a client, never use your own credit card to run those ads. Not only does this prevent issues with the client relationship, but allows them to be billed directly without having you as an intermediary. Billing information will also be consistent throughout the account, meaning the business name on the account is the same on the credit card. And this is incredibly important because it helps avoid account issues and holds when billing information doesn't exactly line up. Facebook is aware enough to understand when people are stealing credit cards, and even if it looks like you're stealing, but you are authorized to do it, it can be a real big problem. So we just don't even want to open up that can of worms. We can avoid it entirely. All right, now for something that often seems really complicated, but we're going to make it really simple. Step number 6, verifying your domain. Go to the business settings tab inside your business manager. Click on create new domain and enter your domain. For instance, disruptourschool.com, although it should probably be a domain that you use because you won't be able to verify ownership of mine unless, well, you're me. Log into your domain registrar and visit the DNS settings page. Add a new DNS record of type TXT. Enter an @ symbol in the hostname field if required. In the content field, copy and paste the verification TXT record provided in the business manager from Meta. Go back to the business manager in Meta and click verify. Now this process can look a little bit different depending on where your site is hosted, whether you're on Shopify or Wix, if you're on WooCommerce or Squarespace. They all work a little bit differently, but the important thing to know is that it is rarely ever more complicated than hitting copy and paste, and every single one of these has an FAQ section to help you take what I've shown you today and get the job done in a matter of minutes. And now the good news is we're on to our last step, which is creating and installing your Meta Pixel. So to do this, go to the Business Settings tab inside your Business Manager. Click on Events Manager and then Connect Data Sources. Select Web and hit Next, and then name your pixel. This is also referred to as a data set. From there, choose how to connect. And the process for each one of these options is a little bit different. So search for where you built your site in the search bar and follow the directions. Just like in verifying your domain, adding in the pixels a little bit different for some spots versus others, but often, like in Shopify, for instance, it's as simple as a single click on the platform. So don't be scared by this stuff. It can sound incredibly technical, but I promise it often takes less than 5 minutes from start to finish. Now, let's get into budget and campaign planning. First, we're going to cover your ideal meta budget. Then we're going to get into the learning phase. And lastly, we're going to cover CBO versus ABO. So when talking about your ideal meta budget, the first way of thinking about this is something we call establishing a runway. What I want you to think about here is the total budget and time that you have set aside in advance to be successful. For instance, if you've said, I have $3,000 and 1 month, then that means you basically have $100 a day. And if you can't make it work by the end of that month and $3,000, then you should probably walk away. The beautiful thing about a runway, though, is even if you're not completely profitable by the end, if at the end of that month you have $1,500 or $2,000 in the bank, it means you can continue to spend $100 a day for another 15 or 20 days. And really the entire goal isn't that you need to be successful in 30 days. It's just that ultimately you don't want to go broke, and eventually the money in the bank account will grow over time instead of being chipped away. That's really why a runway is a fantastic way of establishing what your ideal budget should be. And more importantly, it means that if you can't make it work, you know it's time to reevaluate your decision. Another way of looking at your budget is to think of how much of your profits can you afford to spend. Think of this as putting money into your ads instead of your bank account. For instance, if you make $500 profit today, could you spend $50 on ads? How about $100? That's 10% or 20% of your profit per day that could potentially go into ad spend. Now, maybe that's over the course of a week and you want to ultimately determine what your budget should be. Of the three options, this is usually my favorite to get started because your ads should be run to amplify an existing business model. And in an ideal world, you're using profits that you're already generating to invest in the growth of your business. Option A is establishing a runway is a great choice if you're drop shipping, for instance. But if your business is already underway, then choosing a percentage of your profits to invest in your growth is a strategy that is very sustainable. Lastly, we can look at what we call a total loss investment. You can think of this as what can you afford to lose? Now, generally speaking, this is the most advanced version of how to choose your budget. And it basically comes from the ethos of don't spend any penny you can't afford to completely lose. And the idea is you know you're not going to be profitable on day one. Most businesses don't turn a profit for a couple of years in the real world, and over 80% of businesses never succeed. So this is a great way of understanding what can I afford to lose. And then any revenue I make from it at all is effectively profit over what I've already written off. Then you can just focus on losing less and less until you start making more and more. This is a strategy very similar to establishing a runway, but for a more mature business. So now let's talk about the learning phase. And the first priority here is getting out of learning. Learning phase ads are less stable and as such less scalable. The learning phase is basically Facebook telling you that they are not confident in delivering a consistent result day to day. They basically haven't learned how to do their job yet. And that lack of consistency is something they're trying to warn you about ahead of time. The next part about the learning phase is knowing how much does each sale cost you. And there's a very big difference between platform cost per result versus actual blended cost per result. And lastly, how many actions can you afford to buy a week? Each ad set might require 10 to 25 results in a week to learn. And this is really important when combining step 2 and step 3 of this process because it lets you know what your budget needs to be to realistically get out of the learning phase. Once we know how much it costs to buy a sale or get a lead, then we understand that we should multiply that number by 10 or 25 to know what our weekly budget should be. So for instance, if your average cost is say $10 to make a sale or get a lead, and you know that you're going to need at least 10 to 25 a week to get out of the learning phase, then your budget should be 10 to 25 times that $10 per sale or lead over the course of a week. That's how we get the math of getting out of the learning phase into our budget planning. The last thing that we need to cover here is CBO versus ABO. And what you need to know is you can think of this as where do we set the budget? At the campaign level or at the ad level? And why this really matters is do we want to lean in to machine learning. In a CBO, the campaign chooses which ad set to spend money on, and that ad set chooses which ad to show. That means that the campaign gets to learn from all the impressions from every ad within it. And we also need to know how much control do we want to have and where. With an ABO, we control which ad set gets what money and when. And this is the old way of doing things, when Facebook wasn't as smart and when CBO wasn't an option. And some people favor this method, but going down this rabbit hole and chasing this strategy ultimately means that for you to be successful, you're going to have to day trade the platform. And part of what I want you to understand today is that you're never going to have to do that ever again. So from day one, let's set up the campaign to make all of the choices for us so that we don't need to do nearly as much work. And we're probably going to get much better results along the way because of it. Now, when it comes to campaign planning, we need to understand that every campaign should have a singular and unique business objective. So let's start by defining your goals for this campaign. What is the one thing we want our ads to do? What is the one job you want your employee to get really, really good at? There might be several other nice to haves, but what is the one most important, absolutely must get done thing? Let's make sure the machine understands what that is so that we begin to teach it how to do that job without needing us to micromanage it. Now, when it comes to understanding the one thing we want our ads to do, we also have to clearly understand what is the definition of success. Put a number to the goal, a value, a volume, or a cost. I want you to be able to take a sticky note, write a number on it, and slap it on the wall. And as long as your results are either above or below that number, you know that you're doing a good job. It should be that straightforward and that simple. And lastly, when planning your campaign, we need ad assets. This is your copy, creative, landing pages, and any tools that you're going to use. So with all that being said, let's start to break down the 3 layers of a meta ad campaign, starting with the first layer, the campaign level. This is where we choose our primary advertising objective and the type of campaign we want to run and the budget that we want to use. Layer number 2 is the ad set level. This is where we assign the goal, we choose our bid type, and our targeting. And then below that, layer number 3 is the ad. This is where we put in our creative, our copy. We choose a call to action. We have any links and of course, any tracking UTMs that we want to include as well. So when it comes to creating a successful ad campaign, there are 2 things that we have to understand. First, what is Meta's business model? And second, what is the ideal campaign setup? So let's break down Meta's business model. And the reason this is important is because we are in a business relationship. They are our partner. A lot of times you'll see people basically treat Facebook as the enemy. And the honest truth is, I don't ever want to think of the path to my success, the person I'm giving a ton of money to every day, as an enemy. If we treat them as a partner and as a friend and we give them what they want, they're going to give us what we need in a way that is way more profitable and stable and allows us to spend our time and energy on doing the things that are absolutely necessary to maximize the success that we deserve. So that being said, we have to understand that Meta's business model is built around an engaging user experience and the retention of attention for profit. An engaging user experience is all about creating content so that users stop scrolling when they see it. And we want users to engage with the content. Very directly, this is what we call a lean-in experience. Instead of leaning back, just scrolling, doing whatever, you're like, oh, what's this? That's called a lean-in moment. That is what we're looking for. That is going to reach you higher quality users for a lower price. The better the inventory and the better the experience that you give people, the cheaper it is. The fun thing about meta ads that nobody else will tell you is a very simple fact. The better the user experience, the easier it is to be successful, because they choose to show your content to better people for a lower price if your content is good. Better quality inventory, better quality customers are cheaper to buy than bad ones. And this is how we make sure that our ads are only ever targeting the best people. We have to understand that our ads exist like organic content to help Meta achieve their business model of the retention of attention. They want users to spend more time on the platform, and they want users to keep coming back to the platform. If you can meet your business partner's objectives, you are going to get better and better inventory for a lower and lower price. If your CPMs are rising every single year and your cost for advertising continues to go up, the number one reason is because you're not giving users an experience that meets your business partner's business objectives. And simply fixing that will fundamentally change the direction of your business to help you get the success that you deserve a lot easier than you would any other way. So let's take a moment here and dive into another Disrupt Your School best practice. This is how to set up your ideal campaign. This is the one campaign setup. We are using a CBO campaign and broad targeting. Broad, by the way, by definition, is age, gender, and location. Every other parameter comes at a premium price. Whether you're using exclusions or interest groups, lookalikes or custom audiences, these things cost extra. And you're gonna see either your CPMs or your frequency or both go up the more and more you use them. And ultimately, that means that you're going to struggle more and more and more to see the success that you deserve. So we're never going to play that game again. Now, what does our campaign look like? Well, it looks like this. We want to have a single ad set. It's our winners ad set with the 4 to 6 most consistent ads with the most data. We also want to have 2 ad sets using 322 DCTs, all for the same offer, running alongside it. This basically allows us to leverage the scientific method. We have a control, and then we are running a test against it. And that test is being run as an A/B test, so that ultimately we have a control element, and then we can understand we're going to test against it. Not only does this test win or lose, but which one does better. That is how we move things forward. If you don't have actionable insight, then you are pretty much just testing on, does this thing get lucky? And that is not sustainable. So you want 1 ad set with proven winners, 2 ad sets using dynamic ads, DCTs, or flexible ads. We want them each to have the same goals and targeting, and every ad has a job to do. We'll come back to this a little bit later on with the 4PI analysis so that you can understand what role that ad is actually playing in your ad account, in your marketing funnel, and in your customer journey. And then you want to test and improve the ad most poorly doing its job in your winners ad set with the 322 method ads. And I'm also going to build some 322 method ads along with you today so that literally you can copy and paste your way to success. I promise you can do this. So let's get started in creating a successful ad account. I want you to go to the Ads Manager tab inside of your Business Manager. Click on the green Create button. Pick your campaign objective. In this example, we're going to do a sales campaign. And you can choose your campaign type, either Advantage Shopping Plus or Manual Sales Campaign. Now, just an aside, your view might look slightly different than this. The machine is always changing and testing things out, but as long as you know what the available options are, I promise you, you will always be able to use them. So what does it look like if we want to run a leads campaign? Well, let me show you. You're going to pick the leads objective from your campaign objective. You're going to go to the Ads Manager tab inside your Business Manager like before. And again, you're going to click on the green plus Create button. And at your campaign objective, you're going to choose leads. And from here, you're going to choose a tailored lead campaign or a manual leads campaign. Now, when creating a successful ad set, and in this example, we're doing a sales objective, this is where you want to choose where to drive the sales. So you want to choose your performance goal. You can choose your pixel. An option here, if you want to put in a cost per result goal, this is often thought of as a cost cap. And then you want to pick your attribution setting. I highly recommend that you either choose 7-day click, 1-day view, or a 1-day click. And what you need to know is this, and it's very simple. 7-day click, 1-day view gives you the most data, and a 1-day click gives you the highest value data. And unless you're spending thousands of dollars a day, you don't have the luxury of only choosing the highest value data. And also, as a complete aside, remember that attribution is kind of nonsense. That's a whole other lesson for a whole other day. But this isn't about Facebook taking credit for stuff. It's you allowing the machine to look at a certain set of data to make better choices. And in the world of trying to be stable and successful, giving the machine learning environment more data allows it to make better choices faster. From there, if we have the option to turn on dynamic creative, this is where we're going to do it. Some ad accounts don't have this choice because you are in an environment where you are only allowed to use flexible ads, and that's totally fine. Use all of the exact same advice. It's just one flexible ad per ad set, and everything else is the exact same. Now we get to choose our targeting. And you can choose if you want Advantage Plus audiences or to switch to original audience options. You can also choose if you want Advantage Plus placements or choose manual placements. Now from here, you get to choose your audience, and you have the option of clicking custom audiences or adding exclusions, selecting location, age, and gender, and any advanced detailed targeting options. Plus you can select any languages. And what I'll tell you is this: there are very rarely exceptionally valuable use cases to doing much of anything here outside of age, gender, and location. There are some exceptions to the rule here, but they probably don't apply to you. And I'm going to be making more videos to break down those specific things. So make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of those. Now, before we go any further in showing you how we build these ads, I want to break down audiences, because the honest truth is audiences don't work like you think they do. Interest groups, you've been taught that that means that people like something, and that is totally wrong. It just means that you're in the interest group because you've used words, visited pages, or places correlated with data to something. And over 33% of the time, these interest groups are completely inaccurate. And most important, there is no intent or sentiment around interest groups. For instance, you might be a dog person and say, dogs rule and cats drool. Because you said cats drool, you're now in the cats interest group. Even though you'll never buy cat food, you'll see a bunch of ads for them if the person advertising cat food put cats in the interest group. You don't want to waste your money trying to show people content that they have no interest in. Let the machine not make that mistake because you asked it to by using an interest group. Let's just never use interest groups. All right. Next, let's get into lookalike audiences. You think these are super focused on the best people, but the honest truth is this is completely wrong. They are actually a massive exclusion of your total addressable market, based on low integrity data of an attributed action. These are not based on attention or any bit of macro behavior. Probably the single most prevalent example of this is a lookalike of purchasers. So let me ask you this. If you've made 100 sales, do you think the machine is smart enough on 100 data points, 2 million person audience of everybody who's ready to buy from you? And do you think it's so good at it that you're willing to pay a premium to reach that audience? Are you willing to exclude 99% of people because you think your data set is good enough for a 1% lookalike? Remember, a 1% lookalike is a 99% exclusion that comes at an extreme premium cost, based off of very little bad data. We don't need to ever use lookalike audiences. That's just not a thing that you need to worry about. And lastly, retargeting. You've been told that retargeting audiences are people who are almost ready to buy. And that is totally wrong. The overwhelming majority of people in your retargeting audience have already decided not to buy or never actually cared at all. Generally, this is creating more harm than good. Now, I'm not saying that you should never use retargeting audiences. There are perfectly reasonable use cases for it, but understand that it is not focusing on people that want to buy from you. Most people that say no mean it. So understand that a retargeting audience is comprised of 100% of folks who have already told you no. That generally is not a very scalable group of people that will eventually get you to a yes. So now let's break down broad targeting. And often people think of this as no targeting at all. And that is totally wrong. Broad is simply the lack of exclusions that raise costs and prevent the best users from seeing your content. Broad allows you to reach the best people at the lowest cost. Remember, Facebook is a multi-billion-dollar company built off of one simple thing: show people content they want to see. If your content is something that your customer wants to see, their entire business is built off of the idea of getting your content into their feed. Broad simply says, I don't want to pay extra to prevent that from happening. It is the single best audience you will ever use. So with that being said, let's get into some Disruptor School best practices. Another quick little break to help make success easier for you. Choose Advantage Shopping Plus if you've never run ads before and have a ton of creative. These types of campaigns will get you good results early, but your ads will fatigue. The reason that these Advantage Shopping campaigns exist is because a lot of people got really good at making a ton of content. And when you have a ton of content where the ad can fatigue after a matter of days, and that's okay because you have dozens of more ads to show people, just let the machine burn through it all because you're not worried about the wrong people seeing your content because your content is so good, Facebook already knows who to show it to. This is a short-term success path, but can be very profitable for people, especially if they're not spending a lot of money. Also, choose cost per results goals. This is also known as cost caps. If you do not care how much you spend, as long as the result on Meta is below a certain cost. This option will get you good results early, but like Advantage Shopping, your ads will fatigue and spend will be erratic, but over time will go down unless you make new ads. Also, something that is extremely important: cost caps do not guarantee that results will happen below that cost per result goal. Every single year, we see it happen over and over again, where somebody set their budget high and their bid low, but on that day, Facebook just decided to spend the budget, but couldn't deliver the result. And often this can mean hundreds or thousands of dollars of bad money spent. But it's not Facebook's fault. It spent the money you asked them to. It just didn't do it within the constraints that you were hoping it would have. Cost caps are a suggestion, not a legal requirement. The last thing here, it is my recommendation that unless you have data that suggests you should do anything otherwise, every single campaign you set up should be simply built around broad targeting and a 7-day click, 1-day view attribution window. That means you are not paying extra to exclude good people, and you're giving the machine the most amount of data so it can make better decisions for a lower cost, faster and faster and faster, which means that you get to stable and scalable results on far less work with much higher confidence sooner. And isn't really what that's all about? So now let's get into creating a successful ad. And what you need to know here is that there are 3 types of creative content. You also need to know how to write copy that converts. And we need to dive into dynamic creative or flexible ads. So first, let's dive into the 3 types of content that you need. Content pillar number 1 is vertical video. This type of content is best used to sell the why. You want to generate interest and earn attention. Show what you're about and why somebody should care. Think of this as your handshake. This is often effectively your prospecting ad. They generally have a lower CPM and a lower frequency than other types of content and might not be as efficient at getting a result. But again, later on in a 4PI analysis, we'll show you why sometimes the quote unquote bad ad getting spend is the reason that you're so successful. And turning it off is the reason that all of your results die overnight. Next, we want to get into reviews and testimonials. Identify and give examples of your target customers. Let your customers see their needs as being fulfilled by your product or service. This is here to earn trust. This is often thought of as a mid-funnel style ad. And this can be in video or image. This can be full screen vertical or a square. This is a very malleable content type, but one that you should definitely use. And lastly, square images. Show the what. Overcome objections and display value. Tell the what and make it simple to understand at a glance. This ad is used to make the sale. Often a square image will be ignored by people that don't know what they're seeing. But if they're ready to make a purchase, your square image means that they don't have to watch a whole video to get the point. They can subconsciously analyze the content of your content before they are even aware that they've read the words on the screen. This is there to get somebody over the finish line. It can be thought of as a bottom of funnel ad. Next, we need to get into writing copy that converts. And this really breaks down to 3 things that we need to understand. First off, there's the ad headline. The ad headline ties the creative to the offer. It's important to know that 80% of what stops the scroll is the creative. The eye then immediately goes to the headline. And you need to do this in 40 characters or less. The purpose of a headline is to grab attention and encourage clicks. Also note that headlines are not shown on Instagram. Instagram ads only have a primary text. Now, when it comes to primary text, this is the next part of the ad, and these are the words that are not in bold that are above the creative. The purpose of a primary text is to give context to the headline and a preview of the landing page. A primary text box will show up to 125 characters before somebody clicks see more. And when it comes to a primary text, think of this as a conversation. Above the fold matters here. If what's actually of value is after somebody clicks the see more, know that most people will never see it. And lastly, when it comes to writing copy that converts, you need to have a good strategy. And this is really built on a continuity between the creative and the landing page. The best practice here is to make your copy sound like the brand. Don't sell to yourself. One of the single biggest mistakes that I see people make is they use the copy to be hardcore direct response salespeople. And overwhelmingly, what they find is that their ads fatigue quickly and the results get more expensive every single year. And if we go back to what we've learned about what Facebook is asking for us in our contract in business with them, it's that you want content that people want to engage with. If the ad says, buy now, buy now, buy now, here's a deal, get your credit card out, you dummy, give me your money. Well, that's not a piece of content I ever want to see. So the harder the sale, the worse the ad. And that's a good general rule of thumb. Obviously, there's a balance at play, but I want you to understand why some of your ads are dying and why some of your ads that are really, really good don't ever get a lot of spend. And it's because they only ever appeal to a very small group of people. And copy is tremendously important in that conversation. So now let's get into writing copy with AI. And I hear you. AI copy sounds fake and it feels disingenuous and it's really easy to identify if you don't do it right. So I want you to focus on the business goal of the meta ad that you're running and use your other marketing efforts as a resource. And use the words of your customers and pages that convert to write your ads. Now, I've built a tool for you to use that you can have for free, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And as of the time I'm recording this, it has over 10,000 positive reviews on ChatGPT, and it's 100% free. So let me show you how to use it. So the first thing I want you to do is just simply go to chatgpt.com or click the link in the description of this video. So we can go to ChatGPT. All right. When the chat comes up, we can go to Explore GPTs, and you can just type in Disruptor School, and you'll see a whole bunch of GPTs come up. And the very first one is the 322 Method Ads Copywriter with Disruptor School. And like I said, 10,000 plus. Now, with this, we're going to then use the button that best fits the assets that we have. So let's get started. When this pops up, we're going to start chat. Awesome. And we're going to start with the button that best fits the options that we have. So what I'm going to do today from absolute scratch and show you every step of the way is write some ads for Disruptor Academy, which is my community over on School. Again, the link is down below if you want to check it out. But that being said, let's do this. So our first step is we're going to say, click here to start with your LP to provide a landing page. We also could use previous winning ad copy, transcriptions of video, or just telling me about your offer. And side note, this tell me about your offer is actually really, really good. If you have a bunch of testimonials and consumer reviews, you could just scrape the review section of your website, throw it in there, and it'll just print great copy for you. Well, let's get started. Let's click this button, and it's going to say, drop your URL here. So this is Disruptor Academy, which is at the time of recording, we have 152 members. 3 of them are online right now. Fantastic. So we're going to do this and copy and paste. So now the machine is going to analyze our web page and begin to give us some options and some feedback. So let's see what it's got to say. Based on your Disruptor Academy page, here are a few takeaways. It knows what it is, what makes it different, and why you should join. And then it's going to ask us this question: what specific elements do you want to highlight in your ad copy? I think what would be great is actually all of these. Let's make it generic. If we try to be very specific, we're going to eliminate most of the people that our ads are shown to. But if we want to just be prospecting and show our ads to as many people as possible, let's just show everybody why there's something there for them. Right? This is going to be a top of funnel ad. If we wanted it to be a bottom of funnel ad, we would have more focused on trying to overcome very specific objections, probably around quality or price. So that being said, let's get back to the options that it's given us. It says, perfect, we'll craft some ad copy that meets all of these needs. Here we go. Which two stand out to you? Now, when we're looking at this, I love the idea of more sales, smarter marketing. So number 4 really seems to speak to me. And what else? And I like this one. Join Disruptor Academy and get ahead of 99% of your competition. I love it. That, I think, is a really great example of the way that I think about Disruptor Academy. So now that we've chosen this, it's going to write some primary text options for us and categorize them so that we can decide which ones feel best for us to use in our ads. Now, it's going to give us a bit of a breakdown and start to describe what a 322 ad is. And we're going to get into this a bit more later, but a 322 ad at a very high level is 3 creatives, 2 primary texts, and 2 headlines. So this copywriter is going to give us 2 headlines and multiple primary texts that we think could fit with both set of headlines. And then our job is simply to choose which ones we like. So if we go through all of this, which ones do we like most? Honestly, I think this direct and urgent one is great. If you're serious about scaling your business, you need more than just tactics. You need the right community, mentorship, and strategies that work. That's exactly what you'll get inside Disruptor Academy. Join today and start learning the exact methods top marketers use to grow faster. Spots are limited. Join now. And let's see here. What else do we have? I kind of like this exclusivity angle. Let's take that. There are marketing strategies that never get shared publicly, but inside Disruptor Academy, you'll get them all. Expert mentorship, battle-tested growth strategies, and a network of top entrepreneurs. If you want to stay ahead of 99% of the competition, this is where you need to be. Join now. Now, I don't know about you, but that feels a lot better than most of the results that I've seen from ChatGPT, where it's going to say I'm going to delve into something or whatever else. This is actual really good copy. Now, so that you know, the back end of the 322 Method Ads Copywriter, the information that it uses to write copy is thousands of ads that have spent millions of dollars at a profit from some of the biggest brands in the world. Many of which are brands that I've run ads for, but I've also tapped some of the brightest minds in the space to share their best efforts. This is built on how the best people in the world do their work, and all you have to do is copy and paste to see the success that you deserve. So again, we've picked our two primary texts that we like, and we have our headlines, number 1 and number 2. So to build ads, now all we need is 3 creatives, and we have our 322 ad. Now, if you have more questions around the 322 ad and why it works and why it's the best ad ever, there's a video in the link in the description. But I want to keep us on track today because you just want to learn how to build the ads that work. If you want to know why they work, that is another video for another day. So let's stay on track and get to the next step of building our successful ads. So to create your successful ad, we're going to go back to the Ads Manager. I want you to go to the Ads Manager tab inside of your Business Manager, click on the green plus Create button, select the campaign and the ad set the new ad will be built in, and then name your ad and pick which Facebook page and IG profile the ad should be run from. From here, you want to hit Create Ad or Use Existing Post, and then you can select your creative source and format. Now, mind you, if you're going to be building new ads like your 322 ad, you want to hit Create Ad. If you want to use an existing winning post ID, this is where you use existing post. That's where you make that choice. This is the option that you hit to choose which one of those types of ads this ad will be. The rest of this process assumes that we're going to be making a 322 ad. So let's continue. Now we're going to click on all media and then select or upload the images or videos that we're going to use. And we can enter our primary text and headlines and description. You can copy one of your primary text from the GPT and then click the plus add text option and paste the other one. And then you go down to headline and copy and paste one headline and then hit add headline option and paste the other one. Now, on a personal note, I never use descriptions. They show up in less than 20% of ads and also create additional permutations. That's another video for another day. I just want you to know that I personally never use them. And we have found study after study after study going back over 10 years that they make almost no difference in the performance of your ad. And lastly, you want to select a call to action. And my recommendation here is don't get fancy. Use the standard one that makes sense. Do you want them to learn more? Do you want them to shop now? Do you want them to sign up? Let's just use that button. Now, let's get into dynamic creative or flex ads. Now, these are an incredible tool that will help you leverage Facebook's AI to do a lot of the ad building for you. And let me give you the parameters of them before we break down how to best use this tool. To start with, our max upload limits, you can have up to 10 images or video for a single ad, and 5 primary text and 5 headlines. And dynamic, creative, or flexible ads are great because it allows ad creation with less effort. You don't need to select different ad formats for different placements, as it'll be selected for you based on what the ad delivery system determines people are most likely to respond to. You also won't need to create more ads per ad set to test different formats. Also, dynamic creative, DCTs, or flexible ads allow for automatic optimization. Meta will automatically choose the best combination of copy and creative to give the user the best experience and improve estimated action rate. Now, before we get into another Disruptor School best practice where we're going to break down exactly how to build the best flexible or dynamic creative ads, I want you to understand that estimated action rate is their way of telling what somebody's likelihood of engaging positively with your content is. There's no way of seeing this as a number in your dashboard because every single person is going to react in a different way. But what you need to know is that the better that number is, the cheaper it is to reach somebody. And every ad has a purpose. And again, when we get to the 4PI analysis, we'll break that down in more detail. But that being said, let's get to a Disrupt Your School best practice around building 322 ads and why they are so good. And honestly, why it's the single best ad you can ever run and the only one you'll ever need. I highly recommend that you always test using the 322 method and then pull the post ID of your best ad to use in your control ad set. A 322 method ad has 3 creatives of the same format. Don't put 2 videos and a single image or 2 images and a video. And I probably wouldn't get them to be of different aspect ratios, right? If it's going to be a square image, do 3 square images. If it's going to be a vertical video, do 3 vertical videos because you want the machine to be able to choose amongst those where the only variable is the actual content itself, not the format of the content. Because that's actually not an actionable insight. It's just playing the lottery and kind of asking the machine to do a lot of work for you that doesn't mean anything. Also, a 322 ad has 2 primary texts and 2 headlines. Remember, the eye goes from the creative to the headline and then back up to the primary text. That's how people navigate an ad. Almost nobody cares about the description, and year after year, test after test, shows us that the description has no discernible impact on ad performance. You also want to use standard calls to action. Shop now, apply now, sign up, learn more, stuff like that. I've done extensive testing on CTAs at the ad level, and the honest truth is the one that makes sense is the best one. And what you need to know is that the machine knows what buttons people are likely to click on. And so when there's a shop now button, it's going to focus on showing that to people who are likely to hit the button labeled shop now. If you want people to shop now, but you're trying to be clever and say, well, what about learn more? It's going to show that ad to people that click the learn more button. But the honest truth is the people that hit the learn more button are less likely to shop now. Don't get too cute. This isn't the place to waste your money. I've spent millions of dollars for over a decade, and the data always says the exact same thing. So now let's get into how to optimize and scale your ads and your campaigns to see the success that you deserve. What we need to understand here is 3 simple principles. What are your real results? What is a 4PI analysis? And how do we scale your ads? The first thing that we need to know is that there's a very real difference between your ecosystem results and your platform results. Your platform results versus your actual costs. And this is where you hear arguments built around something called attribution. And the reason you don't need to worry about attribution is because ultimately it's not something you're in control of. And let me give you an example. If you're running Facebook ads, Google ads, and email, plus just have an Instagram account set up where somebody might go to your store anyway, your Facebook ad account might say that it was responsible for 10 sales. And your Google ad account might say it's responsible for 10 sales. And your email platform says that it's responsible for 10 sales. And when you go into your Shopify store, you sold 13 things, not 30. And the honest truth is that happens because people don't exist in mere isolation. It's very common that somebody might have seen your ad on Facebook and Instagram and maybe clicked on it, maybe not, and then later gone to Google, and then went to your website, clicked your little pop-up for 10% off, and then waited for that email, clicked on it, and then bought something. That could happen in a space of 5 or 10 minutes. And it also means that all 3 platforms are going to take credit for the sale. What you need to understand is that your real results and your platform results are never going to be the same thing, and that's okay. Your attribution inside of Facebook is merely about you letting the machine know what data set to use to make other decisions. That's why a 7-day click, 1-day view gives it the most data, and a 1-day click gives it the highest quality. Because within 1 day of clicking, you can assume that the Facebook ad is probably the reason that it happened. But if somebody clicked on an ad 4 days ago, it might very well be a valuable buyer where you would want somebody else to click on your ad tomorrow. Next, you need to understand the sales funnel and the customer journey. What's important here is that your actual funnel and the end user customer journey are two very different things. You might have decided that you're in market to buy shoes, but you don't go to a shoe store until a week later. And then you start going to Google and typing some stuff up, and you go to Amazon, you go to a couple websites, and then you start seeing Facebook ads, and then you see the New Balance ad. After you already said add to cart, but I'm not gonna buy from Nike and Chuck Taylor and Reebok and Puma and Adidas. Well, the New Balance funnel is going to show you as a brand new person, top of funnel prospecting. But in that person's customer journey, they're already at the very bottom of the funnel and ready to make a purchase. So with the 4PI analysis that we're going to get to in just a minute, you're going to be able to understand how the machine is using your ads within your marketing funnel. But be aware that your marketing funnel is very different than the customer journey. You exist as a small blip in time of somebody's overall decision-making process. Lastly, you need to know your ads portfolio. Every part impacts every other. There's no such thing as a winning ad. They all have a role to play. Some ads will be top of funnel, some might be bottom. Those reels that get a whole bunch of spend but the results aren't so good might be the reason that your static ads crush. It's because none of them exist in isolation. Think of it as you want a portfolio of investments. You want a team. There's no such thing as a winning ad. Michael Jordan might be the best basketball player, or Messi might be the best footballer of all time. But you put them up against an entire other team for a complete game, and they're going to lose all the time. If your ad strategy is built around finding a winning ad, isolating it, and scaling it up, understand that basically you're saying, who's my strongest player? How do I abuse them until they fail? And when they fail, you are the reason for it. You have to take responsibility and start to look at it as a team effort. You might have a goalie and a striker. You might have a center and a point guard. None of these things work just by themselves. So now let's get into the 4PI analysis. And these are the 4 key performance indicators that'll let you know how the platform is using your ad. The 4 metrics that'll tell you everything you need to know are simple. Spend. Did my ad earn spend? Frequency. What is the frequency every single day? I don't care about the frequency over a week. I don't care about the frequency over a month. We care every single day. And an easy way to look at this is a frequency of 1.1 means 10% of people saw your ad twice. A frequency of 1.9 means 90% of people saw your ad twice. If your ad has a frequency of a 1.3 or a 1.5 or a 1.8 every single day, it means you are spending a ton of money showing that ad to the same people the same day over and over again. That is a retargeting ad, even if that person has never seen an ad from you ever before today. Your marketing funnel is different than the customer journey. A 4PI analysis is how you can know if an ad is doing its job well. Is it a prospecting ad or a retargeting ad? Is it top of funnel, mid funnel, bottom funnel? And based on how it's being used, is it doing that job properly? Or is it the weakest link? And if it is, that's what your 322 ad should be aimed at replacing. If you focus your ad account in a 322 method ad style with a single one campaign build like we've shown today, then all you're ever trying to do is make your weakest link stronger. And if that's all you're ever doing, it's very, very difficult to not consistently get better. And the last thing that I want you to take home today around the 4PI analysis is the 4PI funnel cheat sheet. Now, this frequency only matters at the by day breakdown level. It does not matter. My frequency is a 3 over the course of a month means that every 28 days, somebody sees your ad 3 times. That doesn't mean anything. If your frequency is 3 every single day, it means the average person is seeing that ad 3 times every single day. That actually does mean something. So here's a quick cheat sheet for you to know. If your daily frequency is less than a 1.15, that means less than 15% of people are seeing your ad twice today. That is a prospecting ad. If your ad has a frequency of a 1.25 to a 1.35 or more, that is a bottom of funnel ad. If 1/3 of your budget is spent sending somebody the exact same ad multiple times a day, that is a retargeting ad. And ultimately, mid-funnel ads exist somewhere in the middle. Once you understand that this is how your ads are being used by Facebook, now this lets us understand why Facebook spends money where it does. You might say, why is Facebook never spending money on the best ad and all of the budget goes to the worst one? Well, if you look at that, the worst ad probably has a lower frequency, meaning it's a top of funnel ad. And because it's a top of funnel ad and it's getting a lot of budget, we probably are also seeing a lower CPM because people like that ad. And the CPM is a reflection of what is the end user experience. Higher CPM equals lower user experience. And if an ad is getting a ton of budget and the CPM is low and the frequency is low, that's a prospecting ad. Odds are it's not nearly as efficient as other ads might be. It's the handshake. It's not the close. It's the first touch. It's not the end of the sales funnel. And that's often why your best ads never get budget. And if you look at them, you'll begin to see, oh, the frequency here is high. The CPM is high and the efficiency is really good. And as a result, it's not getting a lot of budget because that ad only appeals to a small group of people. And when you decide to optimize your campaign by getting rid of the prospecting ads, ultimately what happens is really good results for like a day or two, and then everything gets bad because you stop filling the funnel, because you haven't looked at your ads as being a team. Now, when you begin to look at your ads, you're going to start to see things like maybe there's an ad that doesn't get a lot of budget. And when it does, it has a really high frequency and a high CPM. So it's a bottom of funnel ad, but also the efficiency is terrible. Well, that's just a bad retargeting ad. You might also find that you have an ad that's got a pretty average level frequency, maybe a 1.2. And it gets a lot of budget, but not all of it. Maybe it's the third most spending ad in your campaign. And the CPM is a little bit above average, but the results are much better than average. Maybe your average CPM is a 20 and this thing's coming in at like a 22. And your average cost per sale is a 50 and this thing's coming in at a 40. That's a really good mid-funnel ad. Odds are that ad is doing a lot of really good work for you. And if that ad is crushing, maybe you don't need that other ad that's not getting nearly as much budget that's clearly a bottom funnel one. In fact, the more ads you have below that mid-funnel ad, the harder it is for you to scale your ad account because you're not getting ads that reach more people. And if you don't reach more people, you can't scale your results. A 4PI analysis will allow you to understand how the machine is using your ads. And your goal is to get the best team based on what your needs are and what your business objective is. The better you align your team to your goals, the better your ad account will be and the easier it will be for you to scale. So that being said, before I show you how to scale, I just want to break down how we actually get to the breakdown by day. And it's simple as this. Go to the Ads Manager tab inside your Business Manager, click on the breakdown button between columns and reports, search for day, and click the checkbox. That's it. Now, I want to talk to you about scaling your ad account. And there are basically three ways that we do this. First, we can look at scaling efficiency versus scaling budget. Second, we have vertical versus horizontal scaling. And lastly, we have surfing versus stable scaling. Scaling efficiency just means that we're trying to get our ads to do better. Scaling efficiency tends to be way more stable and sustainable than scaling volume. And the way to think about this is pretty simple. Say you're spending $100 a day and your cost per result is $10. If you get your cost per result down to $9, well, you get 10% more sales. However, if you try to scale your budget from 100 to 110, odds are they won't be as efficient as they were before. Simply put, it's more important to scale efficiency so that your money works harder, so that you get more results without having to add more budget. And eventually your ads are so good that not adding more budget just feels dumb. And that's a really easy way to scale your business. Next, we have to look at vertical versus horizontal scaling. Vertical scaling means just adding more budget to a campaign that is already efficient enough to handle more spend. Horizontal scaling means adding additional campaigns for other business objectives. A great example of this might be adding a catalog ads campaign to your hero offer campaign. So instead of doubling your budget, you just started a second campaign with a slightly different business objective. And that's an easy way to horizontally scale your account. Now, on a personal note, every single one of those campaigns should have a different business objective. And the more horizontally you scale, the harder it will be to vertically scale. And at the end of the day, the more problems you create for yourself, the harder it is to be successful. Now, the last thing we're going to get to here is surf scaling versus normal. Surf scaling is a really common strategy where you basically just say, my results are good, keep bumping, keep bumping, keep bumping. And you might 2, 3, 4, 5, 10x your budget in a single day. And it can be very successful. Stable scaling says, my results are good enough, I'm willing to add more budget tomorrow. The difference is stable scaling allows you to grow over time. If you can add 5% 3 times a week, your budget will double every single month. If you do that over the course of a whole year and you start at $500 a day, by the end of the year, you'll be at over $130,000 a day. Surf scaling is a great way to take opportunity as it's given to you. The problem is it'll ultimately break your ads and force them to fatigue, so you'll have to start over and over again. And the reality is your best day surfing is often a fraction of the success you could see in 3 to 6 months if you just use a stable scaling method. And again, my favorite thing to tell folks is, can you afford to spend 5% more 3 times a week? Compounding interest is a very, very powerful thing. So let's get to a Disruptor School best practice here. Only make changes when you have to. Time, money, and confidence. You will only ever get 2 of the 3. The right and best move depends on which 2 you want. If you want to make more money and you want to do it as fast as possible, the likelihood of you being really confident in your move is not very high. If you want to make a lot of money and be really confident in your choices, it's going to take more time. You'll never get all 3. Choose the problem you want to have. Also remember that profit volume is money in the bank. Profit margin in your ad account is not. Return on ad spend, MER, all of that is great, but it doesn't actually mean money. Let me give you a quick example. 100x margin on $100 is the same thing as a 1% margin on $1 million. Margin doesn't mean anything. The money in your bank account does. Lastly, remember that slow and steady wins the race. Unless, of course, you're drop shipping, in which case take advantage of when you got it, because it ain't gonna be there forever. Now, before we go, I did promise you a massive, massive, massive giveaway. So there's a link right here on the screen. I'm not going to put it in the description because it's only for the folks that are actually watching. Now, if you go there, you're going to get something exclusive and special, and it's a gift from me to you. Something that normally costs hundreds of dollars is now completely free because I want you to be successful. Now, if you loved this video, go ahead and hit like on it. If you really enjoyed this, please subscribe because I'm going to be dropping a lot more things exactly like this to get you through all of the success that you deserve. And if you're ready for the next video in this series, here it is right there. Click on that. And until next time, I'll see you on the internet. Bye.